Wow. Wow. Gorgeous. This video is very kindly sponsored by DistroKid. I'll be talking about them more later in the video. Hello, welcome to this video. My name's Dan, aka Unison. I'm a music producer and songwriter, and today I'm going to be reacting to VESPERTINE by BJÖRK, the full album. So let's go. Right, okay. Hello people. Nice to see you guys again. I can't see you. BJÖRK. So BJÖRK was like quite a kind of new discovery for me this year. Thanks to you guys on the channel, all voting and like telling me that I should react to her and discover her and everything. And it's been a journey. She's one of these artists who, like, when you listen to their material, they just teach you something, you know, teach you kind of a way of making music that you'd never thought. And so I really enjoyed discovering her through a couple of videos and then doing Homogenic and then doing Frosti. And so I'm looking forward to learning something new again today. Everybody's been recommending this one. I think I've had a few songs on VESPERTINE because I did them in the Discovery. I did Pagan Poetry and I did Unison. Loved Unison particularly. But yeah, so I have heard a couple of these songs before, but as with BJÖRK, it's like an album concept, isn't it? That's the whole thing. So I will be understanding and trying to figure out the whole album as a full concept, and I'll be looking at all the lyrics and everything as well. And if you like that kind of thing, then make sure to subscribe if you're not already. I do all these kinds of reactions from the perspective of someone who likes to write music, so that's kind of what I'm always looking at. And yeah, if you want to support me even further, watch my videos uncut, unedited, or request specific reactions, you can do on Patreon. The link is in the description for that. The Christmas season, the holiday season, is upon us. And I've heard that people really like Christmas songs. Are you one of those people who likes Christmas songs? Do you want to record a cover of Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You? Well, DistroKid have a really easy and simple way for you to upload your cover songs to streaming platforms without any worry for licensing or any kind of legal stuff. If you're already a member of DistroKid, for $12 a year, DistroKid will cover all of the licensing for that song. Everything like royalties and rights to use and everything will be completely covered by them. So you're free to upload your cover to all these streaming platforms via DistroKid. All of that stuff's been covered and you have that kind of peace of mind, you know. Doing a cover song is a really good way to keep your listeners engaged in your content, and DistroKid make it really simple and really easy to have that cover available on all the places where your music is already being listened to. Yeah, so the perfect thing for the upcoming Christmas holiday season. Yay! If you're not already signed up for DistroKid and you want to, you can do so via my VIP link, which is on the screen, but it's also in the description. Back to Dan, who's sitting over there listening to BJÖRK. Go! Song number 1, this is Hidden Place. Ooh, they've got quite thumpy textures, kind of a broken loop. I love the loop. That's such a unique sound in the centre. Oh. Wow. Oh, I love that stuff. Wow. God, that big like operatic kind of vocal string thing takes it to such a like huge place. It's beautiful. Nice. There's definitely an element of like glitch to it, isn't there? But there's some more like traditional beauty in it as well. It really feels like things are swirling, doesn't it? Wow. Wow. Love that. It's just almost overwhelming, isn't it? Keep it in a hidden place. I wonder what she's hiding. Love it. Taking all that kind of center fullness out and just leaving like the scratches and stuff. So cool. The thing I love about her sound design is this like, it's always a mixture of electronic, highly sampled stuff and then natural, organic beauty. Is she hiding from somebody or hiding something from someone? I love that, it's so stunning. love this. That shake it, that bit brings so much like movement to it. Kind of like a bit of like spiritualism in there as well. It sounds as if like this hidden place, whatever it's for, whatever it is like representing, there's a bit of spirituality in it, you know, like it kind of feels like there's kind of chanting vocals, and the pace of it and stuff kind of lends itself to like it having like a spiritual meaning. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'll look at the lyrics in a second, figure it out. I like, as with always, like when I'm listening to BJÖRK stuff, it's always about like the sound design for me, and that one really again was something that I've never, unlike anything I've heard before. I loved how the kind of, there's this like combination of this like really dry percussion, like and the glitches and like clicks and things that like really kind of have this kind of real sense of movement that like persists throughout and gives it a very stable sense of rhythm. And then to have these like huge like soaring vocal things over the top that are so beautiful, it just kind of, I don't know, there's something really satisfying about the dichotomy between those two things and the way in which they kind of work together. And the melody on that's beautiful too. And I love how she did a lot of vocal manipulation. There was like a real kind of vocoder kind of moment in the middle as well. Yeah, but it just creates this like sound setup that takes you into this like mystical kind of world. I guess it's like her hidden place, like a mystical place of freedom of expression, and it has that kind of sense of like magic to it, you know, and it has a sense of kind of a cavernous kind of thing too, like the way in which the vocals are, the reverb on it as well. It's almost like her hidden place is this like magical underground fairy tale place, you know, in a big cavern, you know. Do you know what I mean? That's like the kind of imagery that she's like setting up with the sound design. It's really very fascinating to try and like digest, you know. Through the warmthest, your love was sent to me. I'm not sure what to do with it or where to put it. I'm so close to tears and so close to simply calling you up and simply suggesting we go to that hidden place. It's almost like she's scared at like maybe the fragility of this love that she's discovered, and she's thinking, oh, maybe we need to like not tell anyone, maybe we need to like just keep it to ourselves because I'm scared of how emotionally raw it makes me, you know, emotionally vulnerable. So the hidden place they go to together is where she can be vulnerable without fear. Be careful, there lies my passion hidden, there lies my love. I'll hide it under a blanket, lull it to sleep. So she's hiding her love, yeah, she's hiding the fact that she is emotionally vulnerable. He's the beautifulest, fragilest, still strong, dark and divine, and the littleness of his movements hides himself. He invents a charm that makes him invisible. Like she's now looking at him and seeing how he manages to, you know, move in the world so confidently and not be kind of super vulnerable and super open all the time, but still manages to have it. It's like this invisibility kind of thing means that he can kind of move through the world without being damaged, you know, whereas she's a little bit more vulnerable to maybe outside emotions and stuff, and she's trying to learn from him maybe. And I love how she's conceptualized that kind of feeling of needing to hide her for like emotional fragility and then puts it into this soundscape of like magic, you know. Very nice. Oh, did not mean to click on that. Let's go on to song number 2. This is Cocoon. Ooh, I thought that was in my room then. It almost sounds like she's making drums out of like, you know, the sound when you pull a microphone cord out and it like goes, you know, that kind of electrical static thing. I love it. Her voice is so fragile here. That sounds like I've kind of like done this. I absolutely love the sound of that kind of electrical static drum beat. It's so beautiful. It feels so warm, doesn't it? It's gorgeous. It's giving me ideas. I'm just gonna have to write down this idea for I'm writing a song that I might have to steal this. Yeah, cool, okay. write down that idea. Sorry. It's basically my life. If I hear something or come up with an idea of like a production idea or a lyric or something, I just have to write it down, otherwise I'll forget.
Half awake, half asleep. When I wake up, still inside me.
Oh, wow. Maybe the cocoon is the bed. Wow. Her vocal there is so like... so unedited, so dry, so raw. Is this like the Falling in Love album?
From to a boy.
I love the kind of dreamy quality of this.
A boy.
Wow. That was like, I really loved how kind of dreamy that one became. I think it might be like, maybe this like Cocoon is like them wrapped up together in bed together, you know? Wrapped up together in bed together. And like kind of feeling like the warmth of that and like the transformative nature of being in love and like all those kinds of things. Yeah. I love where it took me. And that drum beat is just like so cool. I love it. Like to use the kind of electrical static of like, you know, like, yeah, like that sound when you remove your microphone or you remove your headphone, and to like manipulate that sound into a rhythm is just so cool, and I am 100% stealing it. And for those people who hear that song in the future, now you know where it started. I'm gonna get comments on it being like, I was there, I listened, I saw the moment of inspiration. Love that, actually, really gorgeous. And the organ really made it feel like this kind of dreamy thing, you know. Who would have known that a boy like him would have entered me lightly, restoring my blisses? Who would have known that a boy like him, after sharing my core, would stay going nowhere? Okay, so they've had sex and some part of her was expecting him to leave. And actually, like, after sex, she's like, who would have known that he'd actually want to stay? Which is really sad, actually, in the way that's put, you know. Who would have known a beauty this immense? Who would have known a saintly trance? Who would have known miraculous breath to inhale a beard loaded with courage? Who would have known that a boy like him possessed of magical sensitivity? Oh, who would approach a girl like me, who caresses, cradles his head in her bosom? Yeah, he slides inside, half awake, half asleep. We faint back into sleephood. When I wake the second time, his arms' gorgeousness, he's still inside me. Who would have known? Wow. It's like this, like, half asleep, half awake, having sex, but in this, like, most beautiful, romantic, like, sensual and intimate way. And just the way that she expresses this is so wonderful. Absolutely stunning. Love that. And I love this idea that the cocoon is the bed, the blankets that they're wrapped up in, and the transformation is their love for one another and the passion that comes from having like perfect intimate sex with somebody and opening yourself up to someone like that. It's wonderful. Cool, let's go on to song number 3. This is It's Not Up to You. Ooh. Sounds like my stomach. Again, more amazing electrical drum beats.
I wake up, day feels my head. I'm trying, it could still happen. How do I master?
This one's a little bit more magical as well. I think it's that kind of bell electric piano sound. Makes it feel like that. Ooh. Oh, that sound does move something in me, I think, because it does sound like a stomach. Ooh. Gorgeous. This is almost a pop song. I don't like that sound. Oh, wow, so beautiful. Like, it's quite almost Disney-like, isn't it? It's not up to me what I get given. Oh, that sound again. I love the use of the harp in this. never really was. Gorgeous. I love the use of the kind of the choir and the strings and stuff. It gives it this like big orchestral, almost like dreamy kind of, it does sound a bit Disney, you know. Gorgeous. Very interesting to have something quite so like fairy tale. Ooh. I wonder what this instrument is. Wow. Yeah, it's like a fairy tale sense in it, isn't it? Which is very sharply juxtaposed by that, like the grumbling, electronic, glitching sounds. The kind of glitching sounds cut through the kind of dream ambience, you know? Almost like there's a cynicism to that dreamlike sound, you know? Like she feels the need to cut through it with something. It's not up to you. And also, like to have a catchy hook on a chorus of a BJÖRK song. Maybe that's also why she felt the need to really undercut that, because the chorus does sound quite dreamlike, and then the melody is like, it's not up to you. It's like very like standard pop hook kind of sound. And so maybe she really put that kind of like stuff to really like, yeah, maybe because she's cynical of that feeling, of that sound, you know. Let's look at the lyrics. I wake up. Unlike me right now. I wake up and the day feels broken. I tilt my head. I'm trying to get an angle because the evening I've always longed for, it could still happen. How do I master the perfect day? 6 glasses of water, 7 phone calls. If you leave it alone, it might just happen anyway. It's not up to you. Maybe it's like leaning into the fact that you can't control things as much as you'd like to. And it's like you wake up in the morning, kind of get out the wrong side of the bed and you're like, I'm going to try and make something of this day, but actually sometimes the day's just going to happen. The day's going to happen without you anyway. And actually you realise I was never really in control as much as I like to think I was. And the day feels broken, just lean into the crack and it will tremble ever so nicely. Notice how it sparkles down there. I can decide what I give, but it's not up to me what I get given. Unthinkable surprises about to happen, but what they are, it's not up to you. I guess it's like going into your day without specific expectations and just kind of, because actually like what you're given in your day, like what happens to you, what surprises you, what, you know, you might wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you know, you might like something bad might happen, you know, you never actually have any control. And I think like she's finding freedom in being able to kind of relinquish the control, you know. Let's go on to the next one. This is Undo. It's not meant to be a struggle up here. Ooh. What's that sound? That squirming sound is so awful. It's brilliant. She always makes sounds that make me think, how the hell would I do that? Do you know what I mean? It's cool.
You're trying too hard, too hard. Meant to be a strike, meant to be a struggle up here.
Getting very lost in this one. Leaning into it again. I love those rising strings. Feels like very much like a song with like layers and layers and layers, you know. A mixture of ideas and thoughts that are overlapping one another in her head, you know. Oh, I love that. Amazing. To capture kind of like indecision and stuff in the way that you would actually speak, you know, it's very cool. Wow. I love the like choral nature of a lot of these songs. Like, it does take it to a spiritual place, doesn't it? interesting to have that, like a dulcimer or something, isn't it? I'm not sure. Glitching again. There is a sense of electronic glitching, isn't there? That distortion is very interesting. Very interesting to have that like distortion like descending through the frequencies to kind of like give it this like real, like adding these kind of natural sounds to the synthetic kind of landscape that she's creating, you know. There's like a lot, like all the songs so far, they really do fit within this kind of sonic painting, which is like big soaring choral moments mixed with these electronic glitches, you know. Yeah, and maybe the whole thing is to kind of outline how she feels versus like what's holding her back, you know, and glitching out and like kind of upsetting the way in which she feels she should feel, you know, like the love, you know, interrupting the love with the glitches, you know. Yeah, it's not meant to be a strife, it's not meant to be a struggle uphill. You're trying too hard. Surrender, give yourself in. You're trying too hard, it's not meant to be strife. You're meant to be like enjoying this, right? Unfold in a generous way, surrender. I think it's about letting go, trying to not control everything, trying to not hide your true emotions, just trying to be natural and open, because it's not supposed to be a struggle, it's supposed to be enjoyed, it's supposed to be beautiful. And I do love how the music does represent that with the big soaring stuff, maybe how she feels, how she should be feeling, the love that she wants to feel, undercut by the glitches that is like holding her back, you know. Yeah, very cool. Let's have a look at the next song. Okay, so this one I have heard before. I heard in my Discovery video. If you want to check that out, the link's somewhere. Cool, it's Pagan Poetry. Such an iconic sound, isn't it, you know? I love the harp with the electronic stuff undercutting it. I haven't listened to this in a while, actually. I think this song sounds probably the most BJÖRK, you know. I think her voice sounds like the most recognisably her in this song. And I think that the production and stuff is kind of focused. It's a little bit more like a stamp of her sound, you know. It's probably why a lot of people kind of are drawn to this song, I think. Because it distills the energy of BJÖRK, you know. I loved how this was like the Morse code signals. I didn't necessarily notice that her say that, but I was like, oh, it sounds a bit like Morse code. And then I looked at the lyrics, I was like, oh, it is. That's what she's saying. Really kind of is building like an atmosphere with the Morse code signals. I love how dry this is and how fragile her voice is. It's so amazing. And she's like, I love him, I love him, I love him. I'm going to keep it to myself. There's a darkness there. It's more about her hiding love because she feels like threatened by how vulnerable she is, you know. She kind of now knows that someone has more power over her because she loves them. Yeah. I love the backing vocals and stuff, like the ahs and this chanting chorus of people. Gorgeous. It's so dark, isn't it, that song? Especially like considering like she's talking about being in love, you know. It's like just the context in this idea of like, I love him, I love him, I love him, she loves him, she loves him. It's just because of the music and the way that it's kind of becomes this big chant. It's like so dark. It's like there's clearly like something not good about the fact that she loves him, you know, like. And I think it's this idea of being completely vulnerable, and now like knowing that she's in love with somebody, someone else could then, you know, harm her, by taking this person away, you know, or he could harm her by leaving, you know. So she's really, by falling in love with someone, you are putting yourself in such an emotional state. And if you have gone through something like heartbreak before, you know that you're kind of setting yourself up for it again. And like that, I think that's why that feeling of like, I love him, I love him, I love him is so dark. It's like, what have I done? You know, beautiful, amazing, yeah. Cool. Right, let's go to the next one. This is Frosti. Oh, this is a short one. Sounds like bells or something. The chimes that would hang outside your window, but organised. I should definitely listen to the podcast series that she's done. I think it would actually be really fascinating. Maybe I'll download a few of those for the gym. Ooh. Oh, walking in the snow. Okay, yeah, we're on to the next song. So it's almost like an intro for the next song. I love that kind of creates like it does create this feeling of being out in the wilds of Iceland, you know, because it sounds like one of those kind of wind chimes that might be on the porch or something, you know, and maybe you're sitting there like in your warm things with a hot chocolate or something and like looking out onto the snowscape, and it kind of is evoking all those kinds of things, you know. And obviously, yeah, then she starts walking through the snow onto Aurora. So let's listen to that. I should have put an Aurora album on my backdrop today, but I couldn't be bothered to change them. Oh, so it actually moved over it's quite a long time. Trudging, using that walking through the snow as a rhythm, very good. The sound of walking in snow is such a unique sound, isn't it? Wow. She's evoking that kind of natural wonder, isn't she? Again, more like squelchy electronic rhythmic elements though. Ooh. And she's using that snow still there to create such a cool rhythm. Wow. Darkness there though. Still can't get over the use of the trudging in the snow as a rhythmic element. It's so cool. Björk's drum production is always next level. Again, the choral stuff, so wonderful, and really does create this idea of like being like out in the north, looking at the aurora and just like singing out over the open plains. You know, it's really gorgeous. Like, but she's harnessing that feeling, but not just leaning into it alone, into that feeling, but like mixing it with all these other experimental sounds. You know. Cool. Love that. Really gorgeous. Yeah. I love that it kind of just creates this like landscape in sound. You know, that's really what that one tells me. I'm not sure like how she's relating her feelings towards it. I have to read the lyrics in a sec. But yeah, it's I love that, yeah, she's put it in context. You know, you're walking through the snow and that automatically gives you that sense of landscape, that sense of like situation. You know, I'm here in the snow, trudging in my boots, and that sound of walking through the snow is so specifically identifiable that she knows it's going to take you to that place, you know? And then she like whisks you away as if you're watching the Northern Lights stood in the snow, and all these soaring vocals are kind of representing that sound, you know? And she has a lot of kind of electronic particle effects and stuff that also like layer up to kind of create this feeling of this aurora. But as always, she does undercut the ambience with like kind of weird electronic sounds and stuff. For what reason? I'm not sure in this song yet. But let's have a look at their lyrics. So, treading, the glacier ahead, looking hard for moments of shine from twilight. Hopelandic. Aurora, goddess sparkle, shoot me beyond this suffer. The need is great, Aurora. Maybe she's looking towards the aurora and hoping that it's going to save her from her kind of tumultuous feelings. Goddess sparkle, a mountain shade, suggest your shape. I tumbled down on my knees, fill the mouth with snow, the way it melts. I wish to melt into you. So it's like she really wants to become part of this magic, almost like it's going to save her. Maybe almost like it's going to nullify the bad feelings, you know, in a way. Cool. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This is An Echo, a Stain. Ooh. The choral stuff's back. Whoa. Filter sweeping, creepy shit, monstery stuff going on underneath the kind of angelic vocal. Very, very cool. Very cinematic. It almost sounds like Alien or something, or Predator. It's really, really cool. But then, of course, it's got an angelic chorus and a harp. Can't say no to me. Ooh. It's so creepy, this song. It's amazing though. It's so fucking cool. To have this like, it's almost like the angels are still singing unbeknownst to the monsters that are like lurking, you know?
I'm sorry you saw.
Sorry you saw that. Almost overwhelming there. The echo. Oh, it's so cool. Oh, I love the strings in this. Again, obviously every single beat reaction I'm gonna have something where I'm like, I love that string.
Please.
Oh my god. I love how the strings there, just finish that thought, represent like a sense of darkness in it, because actually up until that point, like it's full, like all the music side of it's quite angelic, the sounds is like but then the strings become quite dissonant, which is I think a realization, you know. Very cool. That ending as well, complete, it's like that is a mad song. Amazing. I adore that thing that stuck out to me really was the almost kind of monstrous sound effects that were going on along the bottom, and then to have that kind of angelic stuff over the top. And to me, it kind of maybe signifies like people who are going along kind of ignoring all the shit that's going on around them and just kind of existing in this kind of angelic state, but ignoring the reality of the situation, you know? Like, do you know what I mean? That's the sense that I'm getting from that. Let's have a look at the lyric. She touched my arm and smiled. That's nice. One of these days, soon, very soon, love you till then. Feel my breath on your neck and your heart will race. Don't say no to me, you can't. Wow, you can't say no to me. I won't see you. Denied. I'm sorry you saw that. I'm sorry he did it. Sorry he, did it. Interesting. An echo, a stain, a stain. I can't say no to you. Maybe it's like the kind of pain of like previous relationships, like echoing and staining the new relationship, you know? Like, I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry he did that. You know, it's kind of maybe like she's like doing things to her new partner because of the unresolved kind of issues she has from previous relationships or something. Yeah, that's the sense I'm getting from that. Anyway, cool. Nice. Let's go on to the next one. This is Sun in My Mouth. Nice. Again, sounds like a kind of toy.
Till my side.
love the orchestral stuff building up here.
Mystery.
Ooh. Gorgeous.
The mystery of my flesh. A mystery.
Will I complete the mystery of my flesh? Huh. I'm not sure what that's about. It could be about like pregnancy and having children, maybe? The mystery of my flesh, you know? Ooh. Bit foreboding. Sun in my mouth. I'm not sure what that's meant to signify. I love the build of that. It really felt like a singular idea, you know, that she just starts somewhere, builds up, and lets it fade, and that's kind of the piece, you know? I love how, like, her songs aren't defined by, like, the length isn't defined by what they're trying to be. The length is just defined by how long the idea is. Do you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of, like, the length of songs is defined by, like, this is a song that's supposed to be a ballad. This is a song that is meant to be a catchy pop song. You know, this song is supposed to be big on TikTok, so it's only 2 minutes long. Whereas that song was 2 minutes long because the idea was 2 minutes long. Does that make sense? I will wade out till my sighs are steeped. Interesting. In burning flowers, I will take the sun in my mouth and leap into the ripe air, alive with closed eyes to dash against darkness in the sleeping curves of my body. I shall enter the fingers of smooth artistry with chasteness of seagulls. Will I complete the mystery of my flesh? I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. It's giving me a sense of like being one with nature. Maybe it's like, will I live to my full potential? Will I become part of the natural world? Will I live as a human as I'm supposed to live, as an animal, as a being, you know? Not sure. Open question. Interesting. Let me know what you think about these songs, obviously. And obviously you've been listening to them for like the last 20 years, so you probably have a bit more of an idea of what they mean. But yeah, I'd love to hear that. Let's go on to the next one. This is Heirloom. Something that's passed down, maybe. Cool. It's making me think of a, like, is it a bossa nova? It's the vibe that's giving me. Interesting to have a rhythm like this from BJÖRK, you know?
I have a recurrent dreaming light.
Every time I use my voice, I swallow little glowing lights. Ooh, I love the rhythm of this. This is great. So unlike BJÖRK to have something like this, you know?
Wide open throat. I have a recurrent dream. I swallow warm, glowing light.
I wonder what the swallowing the warm glowing lights means. Taking in like the energy of other people, maybe?
So much better.
Cool. It has a sense of glowing to it, doesn't it? Like the sounds.
Every time we lose our voices, our mother ends and wakes for us until they're in the sky.
I love the bass as well, the way the bass is moving and really adding to the rhythm of it, you know.
Mother ends and pours.
Definitely talking about like her mother and her family and the heirlooms, you know, in a sense of what's been passed down.
They make me feel better.
Cool. I love the reversed like things. It almost sounds like a light's being like sucked into something, you know. Again, brilliant electronic sound, like drum production. I love the rhythm of that. That was really different to have like that kind of rhythm to a BJÖRK song, but I loved it. And I loved how the bass and stuff interplayed with the rhythm. I love how warm it felt. I love how all that kind of stuff. It really was one that I kind of got a little bit lost in, as with a lot of her stuff, actually. I'm interested to look into the lyrics actually, because like having heard Ancestress, you know, and her kind of ode to her mother after her mother's died, I think that like hearing about her family in more detail from 2001, I think will be quite interesting. So I have a recurring dream. Every time I lose my voice, I swallow little glowing lights. My mother and son baked for me during the night. They do a trapeze walk until they're in the sky right above my bed. While I'm asleep, my mother and son pour into me warm glowing oil. There's this like recurring dream of her mother and her son kind of pouring something into her, influencing her. And I think that's kind of what she's experimenting with, is this idea of like, she's trying to kind of think through this dream and kind of like, what does that mean? You know, the fact that my mother and my son are pouring into me. Is it the way that like things are passed down, like trauma or like ideals or like understandings and stuff are passed down from our parents, but also we learn stuff from our children too? Maybe that's what she's kind of saying, and kind of saying, you know, as a human at this point, I'm actually a mixture of both the heirlooms that are passing down, that have been passed down to me, but also the things that I'm passing down to the future generations, you know. It made me feel so much better. So it is a nice feeling. Every time we lose our voices, we dream, we swallow little lights, our mother and sons bake for us. So that's like we there now. So maybe it's something that's her and her partner feel together, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, gorgeous. Really cool, like conceptual idea of like the things that our family do and how it affects us. Let's go on to the penultimate song. This is Harm of Will.
Is a troubadour was there? Is a man about town? There is one.
I love how the breaths feel like reversed and like layered up.
If there are 9 sheep.
This is the first song that hasn't had drums or like glitchy percussive bits, you know. Purely orchestral. It's like a moment of peace and settling, isn't it?
And he placed her unclothed. And if he has chosen the pine, sacking him for her.
It's nice to kind of hear the orchestral bits fully realised, like they've been waiting to be fully realised right up until this point. Wow. This is incredible, it's beautiful.
I leave her.
Very subtle string there, very cool. I love how subtly she places different instruments and how they play. Nothing comes in blasting unless it is supposed to, you know?
Face no.
She uses the expression of the strings so well in all of her music, especially when they come in like really delicately.
Know me.
Gorgeous. That was really gorgeous. And it really felt like a moment of respite, you know, from the harshness of a lot of the rest of the album. Because even like Aurora had lots of glitchy, weird notes and kind of unsettling bits of like drum production and stuff. But that one really just was like, no, we're just gonna live in this world of beauty and orchestra and strings and vocals, you know. And it felt like a real kind of freeing moment, you know. Yeah, gorgeous. If there's a troubadour washing, it is he. If there's a man about town, it is he. If there's one to be sought, it is he. As he placed her unclothed long-legged on top of the family tree. And if he has chosen the point while she is under him, then leave her coyly placed, crouching, sucking him. For it is I, with her on knee. Leave it be, for he controls what there'll be. He makes the face known to none. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's about like kind of patriarchal ideas of men, and the way in which she almost kind of feels like she has to, like, will always kind of be kneeling to him. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm not sure actually. You have to let me know what you think about that. Right, before we go into the final song, if you haven't yet done it, then make sure to subscribe. And if you really want to support me, like even further, then you can do via Patreon. The song request here has actually become such a fun thing where like everyone on there kind of discusses every month what the song they're going to request, and then I listen to them. It's always like, oh my god, there's always a bit of a cry because people know exactly what songs to pick. Yeah, so it's a really cool kind of little community thing. Yeah, and there's also a Patreon only Discord server which you can access from any tier. And you get lifetime access to it. So yeah, if you want to be part of the community a little bit more, then you can access that on Patreon. There's loads of cool people over there who love music and love sharing it. So yeah, make sure to go through to Patreon. Cool. Let's go on to the final song. Now, I have actually heard this one before because I did do it in a discovery video, but let's do it again. This is Unison.
One hand.
This makes... Oh, okay. Now, like, understanding what the whole album is about, I think I understand the song. Yeah.
Will always be. I will have grown my own private branch.
It does seem to be about her relationship, her falling in love, and her family, you know. And this idea of unison is of two people existing to coming together to become one, I think, makes sense as a final song, you know. Yeah, she never thought that she would be the person to compromise for someone else and be part of a relationship, you know. This is such a gorgeous song. And again, like, it's bringing back the sounds of the album, you know, the orchestra. But it seems like the kind of real glitchy electronic drum production is left behind, you know. I feel like we've been cleansed of it, you know. Mostly.
Hermit style.
I thrive best hermit style.
I can't do this without you.
But now I can't do it without you. Yeah.
Never thought I would compromise tonight.
Gorgeous. I love how the strings match the melody then. Okay, here's the electronic stuff. Okay, fine. But maybe in that sense, it's kind of accepting that things aren't going to be perfect, you know. I love that. Gorgeous. I love how, like, it slowly gets to this place, you know, of real full beauty, you know. It's wonderful. And finally the orchestra, the choral voices, the choir just overwhelms, you know, and it's gorgeous to finally get to this place of, like, that choir fully coming through and singing in full voice is so wonderful. Cool. I love hearing that song in context of the album now because, like, you know, knowing that, like, the album talks about their relationship and her struggling to fall in love and struggling to really be fragile and be vulnerable in love, and actually looking at her family and the way in which, like, the love for her family and, like, you know, the things that they pass down from one another, it's all kind of part of this idea of, like, what has come from, what is evolved from this beautiful love that she found for this other person. But, like, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of trepidation, and it's not really till the end of the album with Heirloom and with Unison that she can actually start to see the beauty. And actually in Unison she really does say, you know, I never thought I would be the one to compromise, but here I am, you know, being that person, and it's wonderful and beautiful. And I love that the love is kind of represented by that choir, you know, it's very angelic sound, and it feels like throughout the whole album till the end, the choir has been restrained, it's been in the background, it's been undercut and usurped by creepy sounds. It's been like, you know, there's always a sense of cynicism to this, like, just being in love. And I think that the choir represents the purity of love. And in this point, it feels like, although it's still there, the love wins because it overwhelms everything else and becomes the central beauty of the song. And that's, you know, represented in those two coming together in unison, you know? Yeah. And I was missing that, I guess, from the first time I listened to it, because like I didn't get the context of the rest of the songs. So yeah, that was really beautiful just to, again, amazing album. Like, again, like so much of it's making me think, make it like inspiring me and making me just think like, how can you use sound design to not only put somebody in a world, but also tell a story through the kind of like the different instruments and the different sounds being attributed to different feelings. And she's the master of that. And she, even though on first listen things might sound a bit mad and experimental, when you get into it, she's actually kind of expressing things that we all feel, you know, and actually doing it in a very pure way that is very, very close to, you know, actually making me feel like I really understand what she feels, you know, even though it is very experimental and strange. So yeah, it's wonderful and eye-opening. Yeah, loved it. Cool. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed that reaction. And before we finish, a shout out to my patrons. Their names are coming up on screen now. If you want to also support me on Patreon, the link's on the screen. This will be one of your perks. Yeah, thank you so much for supporting me further. It's been amazing. Patreon's been really growing and becoming a real little community, and I really love it. So thanks for that, guys. Cool. I will see you next week for another video. Bye.